Welcome to our presentation about the loyalty program Miles & More. Miles & More is an airline loyalty program run by Deutsche Lufthansa, the flag carrier of Germany. Lufthansa is a member of Star Alliance. Therefore, miles can be earned through all alliance members like United Airlines, Air Canada, Air China and Singapore Airlines, as well as Lufthansa subsidiaries including Eurowings and Swiss International Airlines. Award miles can also be earned on certain Deutsche Bahn trains, the German train company, when staying in certain hotels, when shopping in certain shops, like the Lufthansa workshop, for example, when renting cars, and also when opening an account with certain banks.
Miles & More, like many other loyalty programs, has separate elite tiers. However, the specific program is one of the best frequent flyer ones among European carriers. First priority group is the HON Circle, in which one can earn up to 600,000 miles in 2 consecutive calendar years. The second priority group are the Senators, who can earn 100,000 miles in a calendar year. And third are the frequent travelers, who can earn either 35,000 miles or 30 scheduled flights. Once one qualifies for elite status, the benefits begin immediately and are valid for 2 years. Now over to the tier benefits. We'll just continue with the frequent travelers. Those are the most basic. So for those, there's no mileage expiration. They can earn up to 50% more award miles, 25% more miles towards elite status. They have additional baggage allowance and access to the business class lounge. Next up are the senators. So it's needless to say that they have all the benefits of the basic group as well, as 2 vouchers to fly 1 class higher, access to Senator and Star Gold lounges, and additional flight award availability. And lastly, the HRN Circle group. So again, all of the benefits of the senators are included. Then they've got 6 vouchers to fly 1 class higher, first class check-ins at the first class terminals, access to the LH first class, Swiss Fast, and Austrian HON Circle lounges. Lastly, they've got limousine and transfer services for flights. So now I'll talk you through the perceived value of rewards, and I'll start with hedonic. So that's a dimension of consumer perceived value that's associated with senses, pleasures, feelings, and emotions. So for Miles & More, this could mean the comfort of the seats, leg space, for instance, the quality of meals, how they're treated by customer service, the comfort and convenience of the respective lounges, and the convenience of check-ins and services. Next up is economic, and an economic value is the value that a person places upon a good or service based on the benefit they get from it. So again, for Miles & More, this could be redeeming miles for flights, fuel surcharges on award tickets, redeeming those miles for upgrades, redeeming miles for a car, hotel, for shopping, for instance, and then there's also a Miles & More credit card. Next, we have status. Personal status values give rules by which a person feels superior and legitimize their personal actions to protect their own status or to enhance it. So for the frequent travelers, that's, for example, the business class lounge and additional baggage. For the senators, this could mean gold lounges and flight awards. And for the HON Circle, it's the first class terminals, check-ins, transfer services such as limousines, and the specific HON lounges. Now, the personalization relationship. At its core, personalization is about engaging with each customer as an individual. So this could mean personalized messages, as Miles & More is doing it, then personalized services such as Fast Track, and the option of choice between most useful rewards. And lastly, we have social recognition, which is any form of appreciation that does not involve a monetary component. So, again, for Miles More, this could mean the differentiation between the elite tiers, with the lounges, for instance, that I've mentioned previously. Then the association there is with business, and the upper tiers associated with a high social status.
I would now like to present you the rewards analysis. The aim is to calculate the time to obtain a reward. However, in our case, there are far too many different ways to redeem your miles. As you can see on the slide, you can spend your miles, for example, on a Rituals refreshing gift set, on a Lufthansa upcycling wash bag, and on many more products. You can also spend your miles to book your next rental car for your next trip and either reduce the price or even get the whole car for free if you have enough miles. You can spend your miles on your favorite hotel. As you can see, the amount of miles that you need for those products varies drastically. Therefore, it's extremely difficult to compare. We therefore focused on flights, which is the main offer of Miles & More, the loyalty program of Lufthansa, and we are convinced that for this reason, most people use the loyalty program because they want to get discounted or free flights. In the next step, I looked up how many miles you need to get a free flight. Since we're all students and currently residing in Europe, my example is going to be based on free flights within Europe in the economy class. In the following table, you can see that you need 35,000 miles to get a free flight within Europe for the economy class. I then wanted to know how many flights you need to get those 35,000 miles. Well, the website doesn't give exact information on how many miles you get for your flight. That's why I used the mileage calculator provided by Miles & More. It enabled me to calculate miles for an example flight. The example flight I used is a flight that departed from Toulouse to Munich and also returned from Munich to Toulouse. The fare of the flight of 236 euros actually fitted perfectly. Since I looked it up, it is the average of a fare within Europe. According to the mileage calculator, you'd get 944 miles for this flight. So when using our example flight, you would need 38 flights to get one free flight. However, watch out, your miles are only valid 36 months. Furthermore, unfortunately, many flights are excluded from this, but you can only find out when you have enough miles and want to redeem them. Also, the 35,000 miles only apply to return flights. Even more miles are needed for outbound flights. When doing the research about the loyalty program Miles & More, I found the following advertisement on their website. Take off with more money in your pockets. To finalize my rewards analysis, I wanted to find out whether this statement is true or just an open promise. Therefore, I calculated the reward value in percent of purchases. First of all, I did a few calculations of different key values. The type of the reward is a free flight that we want to obtain. The value of rewards are 236 euros, the amount of an average flight within Europe. For this flight, you'd get 944 points, which means that 1 point or 1 mile is worth 25 cents. To get a free flight, you'd need 35,000 miles, and you'd need 38 flights within Europe. As we said before, that means that you'd need to spend 8,750 euros. That means that the reward value percent of purchase is 2.70%. If you compare it to other airline loyalty programs, this isn't actually very high, because if you take American Airlines, for example, you'd get a reward value of 5%, or if you take United Airlines, for example, for their loyalty program, you have a reward value of 4%. Also, you have to ask yourself if you'd purchase 38 flights within Europe within 36 months. Nowadays, the topic of data collection, but also data protection, is getting more and more important. That's why I wanted to find out what kind of information is collected by the loyalty program. First of all, master data is collected. This includes your personal data in the application form, like your last name, your first name, your gender, and your address. To complete the registration, your date of birth, your email address, and for the two-factor authentication, your phone number is needed. Additional data from website setting, like for example your preferred language, is also collected. An individual Miles & More card number is assigned to every member, which makes it easier to identify each user directly. Secondly, your status data is collected. In order to manage the status assigned by Lufthansa or joint operators, such as frequent traveler, senator, or HN Circle member, data required to manage the status is needed, such as, for example, the type of status or number of status or HN Circle miles that customers have earned. Program data is also collected. When members earn miles, the program data includes all the information required for mileage credit and the administration of Miles & More. For example, information about Miles & More partner companies and the number of miles earned. When users quote their Miles & More card number to an airline company to earn miles, the information about flight route, flight date and price, airline operating the flight, and the booking class is also collected. When consumers earn miles with another Miles & More partner company, the program data includes information about the service requested. For example, the price of the product, the goods category, and the time of purchase. When users earn miles with a Miles & More credit card, the program data includes details of the amount spent with the Miles & More credit card. Redeeming miles, the program data consists of details of the awards requested, as well as the number of miles used. Lastly, data obtained from communication media is collected. When using the Miles & More website, app or other communication media, like for example email, as well as when communicating with service centers, personal data is collected. Therefore, I concluded, I found an extensive and comprehensive collection of customer data, which makes it possible for Miles & More to analyze user behavior. This is becoming more and more important in customer relationship management.
Now I'm going to talk about the strengths and weaknesses of this loyalty program. But now let's start with the strength. One of the strengths of Miles and More is definitely the different categories of elites. The fact that customers can go up in status from a frequent traveler to HON cycle would most likely motivate them into collecting even more miles in order to be rewarded. So the company benefit from this system economically since customers go buy more tickets to earn a higher status. This also gives them a good classification of customers that will help them focus on building a relationship with the most valuable ones. For example, knowing that there are three different categories of elites, so a frequent traveler could become a senator or even more, for example. So the company has ground for segmentation and decision making when it comes to how they allocate their resources. The second strength is definitely the rewards. The rewards create anticipation and excitement into receiving them, which improve the customer's experience. Therefore, it increases as well their retention because they are more likely to stay if they enjoy their experience. That means more revenue for the company plus a chance for the customers to become brand advocate eventually. The third strength is the partnerships. The partnerships definitely give the customer more option to acquire more miles, so there's more diversity. And the fact that you can earn miles without necessarily flying help build a strong customer relationship. So there's an impact on the longevity of the brand customer relationship because it's give them a motive other than flying to stay associated with the company. It can also affect the brand image positively since they keep caring about their customer even when they've landed, with car rental, hotel bookings, etc. Now I'm going to talk about some of the weaknesses of this program, but you will definitely hear more about this when we give some suggestions for improvement. One of the weaknesses that we can already point out is the fact that the platform is not necessarily user-friendly. For example, it's not always easy to upgrade a ticket from economic to a business class one. And contrary to most award programs, Miles and More does not allow you to purchase miles. And Miles and More is a revenue-based program, with members earning miles based on spent rather than distance flown. Also, when you book a ticket, you don't earn the miles automatically. You must do it manually. Miles are quite difficult to earn because they partner with Chase Ultimate Rewards, American Express, or other major bank rewards program.
Miles and More program rather creates per-user behavioral loyalty, which means loyalty to the program and not to the brand. Since customers have the possibility of using their points to receive rewards from different partners, they don't necessarily have to be attached just to Lufthansa's brand. Moreover, if a loyalty program reward is not compatible with a specific brand, in this case with Lufthansa, it's difficult for the company to establish strong brand positioning because it is challenging to know what the target groups are and what they search for, since there are many partners in the loyalty program of Miles and More. Now, the question is, how does Lufthansa create a greater behavioral loyalty among its loyalty program holders? Basically, by shaping purchase behavior of its customers. Limited duration of awards pushes customers to use them as soon as possible through purchasing other flights so they can earn, for example, a free flight when they collect a sufficient amount of miles. However, Miles and More could also create brand loyalty if the customer spends miles exclusively for flying with Lufthansa. In that case, a high Q compatibility between the loyalty program and the reward, which is by the way important in such high involvement purchases, would have a positive impact on brand loyalty.
Speaking about possible improvements, we would like to start with the complexity of the program, as many users complain about it. It's difficult for new users to understand all the bonuses of the program, as the amount of information on the Miles and More website and mobile app can be confusing, and users have to make efforts to understand how to use it. So Miles and More may consider developing a more user-friendly website interface by creating a detailed introductory guide or educational videos, or implement an online consultant or chat so every user can get help and recommendations. The second point is that miles are not automatically credited at the time of the ticket purchase, so every user has to manually enter data 7 days after the flight in order to get miles, and also wait until the information is verified. So users complain that they can't rely on the program and plan their miles, as there are too many difficulties and it's quite time consuming. So therefore, as an improvement, it will be possible to propose to change the mileage accrual system so that the user can accrue miles immediately upon purchasing a ticket. Many users also refuse to use the program due to the fact that calculating miles is too complicated. Many users say that it's not possible to understand the way how miles are calculated. users get the impression that the program deliberately complicates the use of the program, and for users, it seems like Miles & More doesn't want them to earn any miles. To make it easier for users to use the program, we would suggest considering the possibility of transforming the program in the following way. The more money you spend, the more miles you get. It will be easier and more fair for customers. Thus, this will make the program more user-friendly, as well as these changes will help to improve communication with users, make the program more transparent, so users can be sure that their expectations will be equal to the reality. And finally, many users complain about the lack of information, which creates the difficulties for them. The program provides an opportunity to subscribe to the mailing list, but many users know that this information is incomplete. So Miles & More may consider providing users with more complete and relevant information. One more possible improvement would be working on the main drawbacks of the mobile application. The application is inconvenient to use, it contains difficulties in finding information, and this information is incomplete. Many users have also noticed that the application has a lot of bugs. For example, in login in personal account, the application doesn't remember login data, it crashes or redirects to the browser. Moreover, the application has the ability to switch the language only to English or German, which creates difficulties for people who don't speak these languages. We suggest working on improving the application by making the login process to the application more convenient, add versions in other languages, and make the application in general more user-friendly. The next improvement would be to expand the cooperation with banks. Currently, Miles & More cooperates only with Citibank. However, a large number of banks offer various loyalty programs, and expanding cooperation with banks could be a big advantage for their customers. One more improvement would be to implement a personal plan or program upon the request of the user. So, with the help of this option, users could have the personalized options for using the loyalty program. It will be convenient for users to receive upon their request a developed personal plan or program that would contain consistent information depend on their income, frequency of flights, and etc. And finally, one more improvement is the expanding of selection of hotels. At the moment, miles can be spent in different ways and, for example, book a hotel room. However, currently, many users complain about the poor selections of hotels where they can spend miles. So, possible improvement in this case would be to expand the number of hotels on offer. For example, launch a partnership with Booking.com or Airbnb. In this way, customers will have more motivation to use the service.